Coastal Interpretive Center has been around for 46 years, and the last 11 years it's been an independent, nonprofit natural history museum. A big part of our mission from day one has been education and outreach, and the way that we do education is, first and foremost, we educate through our exhibits and our displays and our interpretive signs. I am Dr. Barbara Hayford. I am currently the Executive Director of the Coastal Interpretive Center. I was made Executive Director in January, and prior to that, for about a year, I was the Director of the Coastal Interpretive Center. I have a doctorate in entomology, and I study a small insect called a non-biting midge. And these midges, for short, are very important in aquatic ecosystems, and they're one of the few insects that actually colonize from freshwater into saltwater, so you'll find them in estuaries and sometimes the nearshore ocean environment. They're very important in aquatic food webs, so they're feeding the salmon, the salmon when they're freshwater form, and they're feeding birds when they fly up into the air, and they actually kind of mix up the soils and the streams. It's called bioperturbation. They turn over nutrients and make those available for other organisms in the streams and lakes. Our mission is to educate the public on the natural and the cultural history of Washington's Pacific coast. And we also strive to inspire. One way you inspire is to get people out in nature into our museum and just helping understand how this is all connected to each other and how it's all connected to humans. So that's kind of the story natural history museums tell. Also do education and outreach through programs. We reach out to the K through 12 schools. We do education and outreach through citizen science programs. Citizen science programs are amazing because science sometimes seems really inaccessible. But it turns out it's just some basic math and some basic understanding that anyone can do. And I'll just be honest, it really should be fun. First and foremost, it should be fun and engaging. So our citizen science programs right now are the tidal pool and coastal erosion monitoring project. There's a difference between, looking out at the shore and saying, I noticed something's different. Yeah, you did, right? We can all acknowledge that. But when you measure it, you put it into the world of science and math, measure it, then we have robust data over time. This will allow us to add to our growing knowledge of the beach erosion up and down the coast. I think we can all agree that we want our beaches to be solid and to stand for a long time. On the other side of it, we have accretion. Beaches growing, the accretion of the beach area. And in the accretion, you get larger and larger dune areas, and you get plants, you get shore plants and everything growing up. And, obscuring some views. Some people tell me they bought a house here 20 years ago and now they can't see the ocean anymore. So we have both of those issues, and so people are very concerned. And we do expect both of those processes to increase with severe weather events and climate change. So I know everybody's interested in the beach erosion, but I'm very excited for us to really figure out what's living in those tidal pools. We should be at the forefront of any discussion, documentation, and fight to conserve, preserve, and support our local biodiversity. And so understanding the biodiversity of the tidal pools is really important. We have this great opportunity with the tidal pools at Damon Point because they're not natural. They're formed from the jetty. The tidal pool communities have come in and have grown. And so we want to know how they're doing. One of the organisms we study are those ochre sea stars. And they had undergone a few years ago a pretty devastating disease. So monitoring programs like ours will monitor that over time. We want to make sure it doesn't happen again, or if it does, we want to see how bad it is. How do we stop the disease from spreading? So that's what citizen science projects do, is we get out there, we're on the ground, we're educating ourselves, we're educating other people, and we're providing information for those that need to manage. We are located on the very southern tip of Point Brown Peninsula in Ocean Shores. What we find is that people come down here to explore Damon Point, and in some cases the North Jetty. One of the great things about the beach here, near where we are, I mean, there's the outer coast. And the outer coast, you have the waves, and you have the rack line that has driftwood and little organisms such as sand fleas hopping around. But when you get to the rocky areas with the jetty, and that's the North Jetty and Damon Point, you're going to see bright green sea anemones. You're going to see pink and green ones, just beautiful colors. You're going to see the purple and the orange and the red sea stars. There's going to be fish out in there. You'll see on the shoreline, you'll see Dungeness crabs. They're usually not alive. They usually have been preyed upon by a gull, but you'll see their exoskeletons. But in and amongst the rocks there are other crabs, and so those are interesting to see. There's shrimp, and so Damon Point, the tidal pools there are really close. So in some other places it's kind of hard to get up to tidal pools, but at low tide here you're just walking straight from where you park. You're just a brief walk and you're right there. So they'll see that. And then if they cross over the jetty on Damon Point, you'll walk out there. It's a sandy spit that goes out about 2 miles into the mouth of Grays Harbor. And on one side, you're facing kind of west into the Pacific. And you'll see all sorts of different shells, and you'll see agates. People love to come to Damon Point to hunt the agates. And on the other side, you're going to see, on a clear day, the Olympic Mountains and Mount Rainier, sparkling blue water of the North Bay area of Grays Harbor. It's all just beautiful and wonderful to go out and see. And then as they come here, they kind of become part of an exhibit, right? So they'll come in, we'll have a day where they've been out on Damon Point, they've been out at North Jetty or even the outer coast, and they'll come in and say, we found this, what is it? Or we saw the whales, tell other people the whales are out there. So they bring that information into us, they bring specimens and rocks, and we are striving to be the institution, the organization that knows. We want to know what these things are. We want to be able to send them out to other scientists. What is this? Was this a mammoth bone that you found? Was it a dinosaur bone? Those kinds of things. And so when they're down here, they'll drive by and they'll find us. And we're like a hidden gem. They'll come inside and they'll say, I had no idea it was so large and it had so many amazing displays and exhibits. And again, we have the entire outside for displays and exhibits. So people are amazed, and it's really fun when they come in because people bring a lot of joy with them. All of this is connected, and to think in that way, I think, is to really think about our role as humans. What is your role in your watershed? What do you do? What role do you play? So as a nonprofit museum in natural history, we are supported by the passion and the knowledge and skills of our volunteers. This is a group of people who have come together and done this amazing thing.